All right, good evening, everybody. It is Monday, February 7th, 2022. I'll call the Prescott Planning Commission meeting to order. We'll take roll call. Steve?
Here.
Steve?
Steve Most, Prescott.
Two Steves.
Two Steve. Bolser?
Here.
Connie?
Here.
Rob?
Here.
Josh?
Yep.
All right. Approval of the minutes of December 6th, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and second to approve the December 6th, 2021 meeting minutes. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the developer deposit proposal. Both has something in our packets. I'll let you give us a quick overview for the audience.
Sure.
Or from the people on TV, I guess, more than anything.
Thank you, Mayor and Planning Commission members. So one of the things that we currently have in our fee schedule is that we have a flat fee up front for various development costs. Something that we constantly run into, though, is that lots of times when the developers take on a project and we take out a project, there are added expenses, specifically if there's an agreements that have to go with it. We have to have our lawyer develop them. We have to have our engineer look at stormwater ponding in terms of runoff that happens there as well. Most of those fees then, as they're occurred, sometimes we either have to wait to the end of the project and bundle them all together and then submit them to the developer, or we have to try to submit them one at a time, and it just creates a laborious kind of process as we go through it. So one of the things we were looking at trying to do is implement a developer deposit. This is something that's done elsewhere in Wisconsin, specifically when we were looking around Muskego and New Berlin are two examples that we looked at in terms of what they have been done. It is also done regularly across the border as well over in the Twin Cities area and what they do for development. So what a developer deposit is it's basically like an escrow account. We'd collect a certain amount of money up front based on how large the project is. We would then use those funds to pay for costs that are solely based on that development occurring. So that developer coming forward, we'd only pay those costs based on what happens as part of that development. Then as those costs are drawn down upon, we keep a detailed record of what we're spending it on. And then as the project ends, any leftover funds that the developer has paid in the developer deposit, we submit back to them at the end of the project. So they're only paying for their own expenses that the city is incurring. It also makes them take the project a little bit more serious, so we don't have somebody come in. You know, the fee we have now is pretty nominal compared to the overall project. So collecting those costs up front, then it assures them that they finish it and want those funds back. So as part of this, what would be proposed is we'd be changing the city code 635-18. Ordinance Committee did review this. They did approve it to go to the Plan Commission for review and discussion. So with that, I'll turn it over to you for questions, comments.
Yeah, I think it's a wise idea only for the fact that I think I got on here and Rob maybe remembers this, but the development that was going to go up here where the high school is now. They put a lot of, they had a lot of planning, city did a lot of engineering, and all of a sudden the economy went kaput. And they owed the city like $70,000, $80,000. And so this is one way of kind of preventing that from happening. If we're not sitting there and all of a sudden they go belly up and the city could be out, yet us as taxpayers just got done funding something that we might not get back. Luckily we got some land and swap for that at that time, but I think this is an excellent idea. Anybody else? Thoughts, questions?
Is it, the staff would be increased because of this or not?
Not necessarily. What it is like Matt says, so if we, our stormwater, since we have Cedar Corp, we might have them just say, hey, does that stormwater meet our ordinance? And so that Cedar Corp charges us $500 for doing the review, it would help cover that cost. It may help cover the cost of a planner. We're going to get a planner, and hopefully this would help pay his wages per se, or his time. Some of that would be incurred into that expense. Some of it is, not all of it, but some of it would be.
You probably have a pretty good staff here anyway.
Right.
This kind of puts it in the groupings where they.
Right, and it's just even our staff now. What our staff now does, the time they spend doing it and reviewing it, we say, well, you owe us this much time. Well, now we got to go after it. This way we have it.
It's just prepaying.
Prepaying is a good way of saying it.
It's being, as opposed to after it's all done, hey, you owe us money.
Right, you owe us money in there. Well, we'll tell you, we'll pay after the first couple lots. Next thing you know, they're halfway through it and they still don't want to pay because.
Well, that was my question. Have we had difficulty recouping some of these funds at the end of some of these projects?
Yes, I think the hardest part that we struggle with is if we wait till the very end, it becomes even more difficult if we bundle them all together because they're already finished.
Right.
And then, but then the other difficult thing is if we bill them as we go, it just creates a much more, a lot more labor in terms of,
Well,
every
you gotta
time we
keep
get a
track
little
of
bill,
it.
we gotta
Yeah.
submit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the,
So
okay.
I think it makes a lot more sense to put the bundle up front, have them do what they need to do, and if they get a refund, they get a refund.
It's like the, the senior housing they were gonna do over here, now, I don't know, it's gonna maybe be stored, but at one point, they brought in and we
Mm-hmm.
probably did some research there and Cedar Corp charged us, and it's like, but they ended up not doing it, well now, how do you charge them, because we really didn't have them fill out a form and start the process up front. And I think this way we just say, no, the city shouldn't be expensing for you to see if it's a good idea for you to do it. And that's what you're saying also, correct, Matt?
Yeah.
Yep.
And just a couple other things to note is as part of this, one of the things we are looking to add as well is a site plan review. That's one of the things we don't currently have in our fee schedule. So like, for instance, the yoga studio and the storage structure that came before you, I think in November.
Yep.
Technically, we didn't have anything in our fee schedule for when a piece of land is already there or parceled, so there's no survey that needs to be done. A site plan review basically then allows us to set a fee for that and then collect specifically, for instance, like that storage facility is gonna have a bunch of runoff, so we're gonna have to have a lot of engineering just reviewed, so making sure we're collecting some money up front for that, whereas previously our current fee schedule doesn't have anything. We have a preliminary plat, a final plat, and a certified survey map as well.
Any other questions?
I have a quick one. So do developers know upfront, like a roadmap of what they'll have to pay for out of this fund? I mean, is there like X, Y, and Z that a developer will have to check these boxes to proceed with their plans? Like, I'd just be curious.
Aren't most
Pretty
of
much all listed
these
right in there.
actual charges that they incur throughout the project?
Yeah, so I guess
So they would know that they're there, they just need to pay them up front now?
So one of the things, we have kind of the steps that we'd like to work through. I mean, the difficulty with any project is you never know for sure what you're all gonna have to pay for until you kind of get into it. There might be, some review that you didn't think that need to happen that, might have to happen. But the planning fees and procedures, we do kind of lay out that, step one, we'd like you to come in and have a meeting with us so we can kind of have a discussion of what you're trying to do, and then we can tell them, okay, you're looking to plat 40 lots, or okay, we're gonna put together a development agreement, which our attorney will do, or will help us do, so you'll have to, that development deposit's gonna go to paying them for their work on this. And, our engineer's gonna have to review the
There's no real new
stormwater.
fees, it's just collecting the money first.
Yep.
Right, and this has nothing to do with like doing streets, it's all the paperwork to say, yes, you can do the streets. Does that make sense?
Right, well,
Okay, okay,
yeah.
all right, I thought you meant, I knew that. All right, any other questions? Not, I'd entertain a motion to recommend the council adopt the changes to the February 2022 fee schedule for developers deposit.
So move.
All right, with you? Motion made second, approve the developer's deposit policy adopted on February 22nd. Recommend approval of the council. Any other discussion on that motion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the proposed sign ordinance change.
So, back in 2010, the city of Prescott underwent the process of putting electronically all of our city code on the web. Previously, it was all hard copy. As part of that, one of the things that we've recently come known to us is that a large section of the sign ordinance was cut off. So right now, we have a lot of things missing in terms of, like bulletin boards, wall signs, monument ground signs, off-premise signs, and more. That was removed when we electronically codified our code. So one of the things we're looking to do is bring back that code that was cut off, that's highlighted in your packet, in terms of City Code 635-63, and looking to re-add that so it gives us a little bit more clarity of what can be approved in terms of signs and what can't be. So that's for your review. It did go to ordinance committee on January 24th, and they did approve that 3-0. So with that, I'll turn over to comments and questions.
Any questions?
So this is already in the ordinance, it was just inadvertently cut off electronic.
It was way back, and when we adopted the updated version of electronics, we didn't get this in there and not adopted. Am I correct?
So is this gonna have to go to council and have 3 readings again?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? Just to clarify, what types are allowed where is all? So,
Make a motion to approve the sign change of City Code Chapter 635-63.
I'll second the motion.
okay, motion made second to approve the proposed sign ordinance change to the city council of 635.63. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 2021 development review. You wanna throw that at us too?
Yeah,
I'll
just
read,
that-
but I'd like you to do it again for the audience, so.
I thought it would be a good time to just, as we kind of finalize 2021, to give you a sense of the development that we had this past year. We did have 49 single-family new home permits come in, which is our highest since 2004 when we had 60. Additionally, we had an overall valuation of a little over 14 million, which is our highest since 2014, and really 2014 was kind of an anonymous or off year because that's when UF&I came in and had that $24 million valuation that was put in. So one of the highest years for development in Prescott, and just kind of wanted to share that with you. There is all the permits that were approved from 2000 to 2022 to give you some reference of the kind of growth over Prescott over the years.
Appreciate that. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do you know how many lots we still have available to develop? Just curious.
Well, one of the things, if you look at 2022, we've already had 9 new home permits that came in just for 2022. In terms of Great River Second, there were 10 when I previously talked to the Lynn Most, but that was before this new 9, and I think there are 4 in there, so I think we're down to 6. And I'm not sure how many are left in Palmetto, and then all of Westridge is still, although I've heard they're sold, but they have not submitted any
Oh, that's right.
building
Yeah.
permits
Yeah.
for those.
So yeah, there's still, we could get another 30 next year.
And Lynn and Al sound like they do want to come forward with the 3rd edition, so
Yep.
there'll be additional.
So, Prescott's rolling just like, the surrounding areas, and it's kind of nice to see. It's increases assessed value, that helps the tax base. So. All right, any questions for Matt? I know, and again, this is in your packet. If you have more questions, you can review it. Next meeting, you can always bring it up under other business. If you have any just general questions as far as growth is.
And that's developer deposit policy sheet.
Yep.
In the commercial developments. And it has 10,000 square feet and up and 50 and up. And what does the GBA mean?
Ground base area, so basically it includes
Okay.
the whole finished area within the building.
Okay.
All right. Is there any other business that anyone has to bring up at the planning commission meeting here?
Well, I was hoping that Todd was gonna be here. Happen to know that somebody's gonna be moving in one of these twin homes down here on,
Okay.
Warner,
Yep.
or, not Warner, but,
Wait, no, behind.
the water was left on one of them, and it made a 3-foot hole. He has a picture, I know the guy that's moving in, and I'm just wondering if it needs to be inspected again now for structural damage to the foundation.
Well, that's on a slab though, right?
That is a slab.
Yeah,
It could have gone under the slab.
Well, from what I understood, it ran off the slab and down a grade.
It's got
Yeah,
a hole
right,
that's been
yeah.
around right now, right next to the foundation.
Yeah, and the developer is gonna be responsible for that
Right,
too.
no,
Yeah.
but it shouldn't be inspected again, because they're moving in this weekend. So.
I will get the address from you, and then I'll call Todd and have
I
that.
appreciate that.
Yep.
Yep, I just have Todd
I
check.
think that's on that one street that's called Willow,
Yeah, it might be, maybe Willow.
or Robert. I'm
I
not
think it's
sure.
Willow.
Yeah, it's Willow.
It's the first street that comes out. on the
No,
water,
it's the
isn't it?
it's the second one, it's
Oh.
like part of the
Well, it
second
depends which
page.
driveway you're driving.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think it's Robert,
I'm going that way. But anyhow, we'll have that checked.
yeah.
Appreciate it. Any other business, any other concerns, any thoughts,
I have
Scott?
a question about the storage garages that they're able to purchase down along the
South side
highway.
there, Yeah.
And the fact that I know verbal agreements are as good as the paper that they're not written on at this point in time, but I could have sworn at our one meeting,
Stone.
they were supposed to decorate those a little bit better so it didn't look like warehousing coming in first thing into town.
Yeah,
Then there was the promise that those corners were gonna look better, and they don't.
well, they aren't tin, I know that, but
Well,
I
they
know what you
aren't
mean.
tin, but they don't look any better.
But as Matt's gonna tell you, go ahead.
I know.
Well, I guess I'll start with first, if you look
So,
at,
so this is my question, in these agreements and if they're gonna fork out money in a development agreement previous, can we withhold if they don't stick to their plan?
so I'll start with the developer deposit and the information that's in your packet tonight. So one of the things we are trying to make sure going forward is that we get elevation drawings and coloring renderings and perspective of all buildings that come before you. So basically you have something that you're going to approve and something that we can hold the developer to. Unfortunately, in that situation,
Well, I thought his pictures had stone.
they do, I guess, had some, I've seen black and white pictures that show some stone there, but they didn't have anything we could hold them to. I think also the issue that we ran into is that it was approved as a condition of planning commission, but the planning commission is a recommending body. So moving forward, we're gonna make sure that we always have resolutions that then you all have a chance to look at and then make those conditions, and then they're put in that resolution and they go forward to the city council and they'll have all the conditions you vote on.
And we have them sign it, correct?
They don't sign, but then we send it to them and say, these are the conditions that were voted on for your site plan to move, for you to get a certificate of occupancy, you have to meet all these
And that's
conditions.
right, I know, and my thought is, have them sign saying they received it. So this is our conditions, this was approved, you understood that because you signed, got a copy, that's just my thought, because then that would protect us. Because again,
Yes,
he's like, well, it was a recommendation, they put stone on it, kinda.
so,
We didn't say we will deny it if they don't, we said we recommend because we want it to look broken up, and he put something other than stone. And I don't know if it was the availability that he couldn't get it, or
Okay.
how it is.
well, I know that that's been an issue
Right, he wanted
last
to finish
year,
them off
but,
maybe, so.
but I know that the second building is, the skeleton is up, so,
That whole thing has been approved. And
I
They're not
know.
gonna put one brick on.
Yeah, I
We can try to get them to have one this style, one brick,
That's
just to break it
going
up.
forward, that's what I'm asking, in these,
You need to be more specific.
Oh, and in agreement.
We give them.
A resolution that goes to them saying, here it is. It's not, well, yeah, you recommended it, whatever.
Yeah.
No, here are the conditions, there's the resolution saying what's
so,
done.
yeah.
That's kind of what I think, we're trying to move forward with, so that we don't have those issues.
Yeah, carrying
Well,
forth the conditions
I
that
okayed
planning
it
commission
because
said.
at the time, he said
That's
yes.
kind of what I assumed.
So,
Maybe he figures he's gonna do all that after the completion of all three.
There you go, come back and restone them.
I doubt
I don't
it,
know.
I doubt it,
They always take their money if they have too much and redo everything.
so.
All right, no, appreciate that. Any other comments or thoughts or any issues?
What's happening on Highway 10 with the signs up there?
DOT, the Highway 10, there's
Yeah.
barricades halfway part down the hill.
I don't know.
I guess, I bet you the road, there must be, little
there
undermining must be under there.
Well, yeah, that one spot was
I'm thinking
repaired,
so.
but
Because they got
They
it from,
repaired it
Yeah,
once.
just like for 10 feet.
yeah, well, yeah, but they get barricaded about 100 feet. It's on-
And that
right in
goes-
front of the fireworks stand there, it's a.
Well, I don't think they barricaded. Is it that long? It just seems like a little boom boom. couple
Well, yeah, it
poles.
is in and out, I mean, 100 feet it might be,
Right.
but just because they have to have enough to kind of reach in and
Yeah, pull
out.
their truck in.
So, yeah, that'd be my guess. Check with City Hall tomorrow, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
Mike, you can find out from the DOT, because it's gotta be DOT or Pierce County that
Right.
barricaded it.
what ever happened to that place that was on fire across from Casco, that shell's sitting there?
Well, they're supposedly, Todd sent a letter, right?
Yeah, so we sent him a letter. The previous owner was unresponsive. We actually issued a citation for them, but the new owner, his name is Adam Bauer, he just purchased, he's actually the one who cleaned up what has currently been removed. He plans on completely cleaning up the rest of the building, removing the siding, and bringing it up back up, redoing it as it was. But in order to do that work, he has to wait for it to warm up to do some of the steel work he wants to do. So the plan is in April, he should be able to get back in there and,
So, it's cleaned up, but it's still not the most safest building, correct?
right, so we asked him to put, I actually just talked to him last week to put
Fencing.
some sort of warning or fencing along.
Maybe the fence would, even the orange snow fence would be better than nothing, keep, kids have to climb over it somewhat.
They should also put masking requirements up there.
What about the old hospital?
That's still sitting there, what are they doing there, do you know?
Yeah, we had a lot of good conversations in November. We had actually a discussion of, trying to move forward, and it sounded like they were interested, but he's gone silent over December and January, so.
Yippee.
I'm gonna have to just give them a deadline that something's gotta happen, or it's citations or something, I don't know.
Which one's this?
The
The
hospital.
hospital.
Oh.
I think Craig always to call it back in the day. Any other questions or any business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, second to adjourn, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Our new calendar.
New calendar.